Hi everyone, thank you for being here. A little about me. I have been working in technical SEO for more than 10 years. Before I worked as an SEO data analyst, but now I'm working as a freelance data scientist in this field. And I still enjoy analyzing web SEO data. There is an elephant in this room, but we cannot see it because there's not enough lights. We all are touching its parts and describing what it is without seeing it as a whole. Today, I'm going to talk you about one of the light sources which can help us to see the elephant. However, I should warn you, web server logs data analysis has some costs. It is not very simple and easy. Now, let's bring some light into the room. Web server logs as key data source in technical SEO. There are many sources in technical SEO, but in my opinion, two are essential, which are the crawl data we collect from the websites of our clients and the data we collect SEO data we collect from web server logs. But if I have to choose one of them, my choice would be web server logs. And the reason is, crawl of a website is like a photo we take at a moment in life. It cannot tell us much about the past of the website and not much about the future. We can only have an idea about the present life of the website. On the other hand, web server logs is what we take in the photo, meaning the life of the website. Web server logs can tell us about the past life of the website, present, and the future. But before talking about how to collect web server logs and how to analyze them, I would like to talk about what web servers are. A web server is simply a computer which provides data to other computers. There are clients, desktop and mobile. They send HTTP requests to web servers, and web servers answer these requests. It is important to know main web servers today, and Netcraft surveys web servers, and according to their survey, a recent survey, there are 4 main web servers: Apache, Nginx, Google, and Microsoft's IIS. So if we take a close look at these web servers, we see that Apache and Nginx are open source. Microsoft is closed source, but you can pay for it. And there is Google Web Servers. In your daily SEO work, you will not meet Google Web Servers. So we can say that only 3 main web servers we will work with. I think it is important to identify a web server before collecting and analyzing it. And there are some simple ways to do this. You can simply curl on a command line, but sometimes the server information may be hidden. With live HTTP headers on Chrome, the same. And also there are some cool apps which can tell you the web server of a website. And I also recommend taking a look at Netcraft because you can find historical information of the web servers on the site. This can be helpful if you are planning to collect years of data. So what's a log file? We saw what a web server is. A web server log file simply tracks HTTP requests and HTTP responses. What's great about the log file is we can find in one line the HTTP requests sent from the clients to the servers and HTTP response sent from servers to clients. So a line on a log file looks like this. There are 7 main fields. The first one is IP address of the client. The second is the time that the server finishes processing the request. Third one is request line from the client. Fourth one is status code. Fifth one is size of the object returned to the client. Sixth one is referrer, and the last one is the user agent. A web server log file looks like this. And now let's see what kind of information we can get from log files, for what we use log files. Log files can tell us about the past, what has happened on this site. And it can also tell us the trend on the site and seasonality. And log files are very helpful in present data analysis, especially if you want to make a crawl first SEO audit. You can calculate some very important crawl first SEO metrics with the log files. And more importantly, they can tell us what our clients shall do now. And web server logs also can help us in future predictions of SEO data. So before collecting log files, you should know how many months of log files you need. Okay, what I give here is not a scientific information. It is the rule of the thumb from my experiences. So, in fact, the real rule of thumb is the more web server logs you have, the better it is. But I know that you have limited resources. So, for a past data analysis, at least you should have 4 months of log files. For present data analysis, at least 1 month of log files. However, for present data analysis, 1 month may not be enough. If the website has serious crawl and indexation problems, or the website is very big. So 1 month of data may not be enough. For feature data analysis, you need at least 24 months, 2 years. Before collecting the logs, I think it's a good idea to send a questionnaire to your client. In this questionnaire, you can ask questions since when they are collecting web server logs, are they collecting web server logs, and did they do some changes recently for the format of the web server logs, so on. And you should send the required fields, which fields you're expecting. It is also a good idea to receive a sample of logs before collecting the logs to gain time. You should check the sample and see if the required fields are in the logs and if you have required data. For example, you may have crawl data but not the data about active pages, for example. It's good to check the sample. And now it's time to collect the web server logs. You should tell your client how many months of log files you would like to collect, and collect them. And when you collect the web server logs, you should verify some issues. Did you collect all the web server logs? There's a way to check this. Especially if you look at the active pages in the web server logs, number of active pages, and the number of active pages in an analytics tools like Google Analytics, you can compare both and know if you collected all the log files or not. And other issues are about the host, which host belongs these web server logs, and which protocol it belongs. So for data integrity and quality, you should verify this. And after, you should filter the real Google bot and search engine visits, because we know that there are some fake Google bots. And it's time, after that, you need to parse web server logs. You can do this on command line. I wrote a blog post about this. You can check it on my website. Otherwise, if you can use a programming language, for example, Python, there's a good library which can help you, Apache Log Parser. And on this slide, you can see an example of parsing. I made the log line up, so we see the result of the parsing. And once you parse the data, there's no mystery. You need to store structured data, and it depends on the resources you have. You may choose SQL solutions, NoSQL solutions, cloud solutions, or if you don't want to go to cloud, then Hadoop, Hive, or Spark can help you also. And once you store the data, you need exploratory data analysis. You need to visualize data. On this slide, we are seeing 3 years of crawl and active pages data on a site. The data is scaled. And about the past data analysis, I would like to give you an example. In the past, I realized many SEO audits, but in 2012, I think the SEO audit I realized can give you an idea about what kind of information we can get from the past data analysis. In the beginning of the SEO audit, I collected 4 months of log files, but I saw something strange, something intrigued me. I'm sure you all know what it is. It happens to you also. You know there's something which is not wrong, which is not correct, sorry. And I asked the client to send me more logs, more web server logs. So the client sent me at the end 8 months of logs. And I analyzed the 8 months of logs. And at the end, I asked a question to the client in the final audit. I asked, 4 months prior to this audit, did you integrate frequently updated content to this website, such as link blocks? But at that time, I was not sure. I mean, I asked this question, but I was not sure. And the client's answer was yes. Yes, 4 months prior to the audit, they did this. So this is an example of what you can get from past data analysis. Otherwise, with the past data analysis, you can analyze the trend and seasonality on the site. On this graph, we are seeing trend and seasonal analysis of active pages, 3 years of active pages on a site. Here, when we talk about seasonality, it's not in plain English, but it is repeated cycles. We mean repeated cycles. So this information can be helpful to us in creating the models, of course, machine learning models, but also it can help us in taking some decisions. For example, if it is about the crawl data and if we know that the crawl will decrease, will we still go for the migration? For example, these are the questions we can ask. And I would like to recommend you analyzing the data distribution, generally SEO data distribution, and they can give us important information. On this slide, we are seeing data distribution of the data extracted from web server logs, but different years. So each of them are different. So with different time frames, we have different data distribution, and with different categories, we have different data distribution also. This can be helpful in categorizing our data, crawl and active pages, for example. And this can be also helpful in estimating missing data. So web server logs are helpful also in present data analysis, we said. We calculate crawl first SEO metrics with web server logs. The important metrics like crawl ratio, active page ratio, and crawl frequency. But in doing this present data analysis, there's an important question: how many days of logs we shall use to calculate these metrics? So if you can have past data, it can help you decide how many days of logs you need, because every website are not the same, and every type of pages on a site are not the same. So if you want to calculate effectively, then you need to identify past data, I should say. But if you only have the present data, then there is nothing to do. You do what you have. So for present data analysis, if you have the crawl data of the website, which you have by crawling the website, then, and if you cross the data coming from web server logs with this data, you can tell your clients, for example, which pages to crawl to close the crawl. And also, with the information coming from web server logs, you can tell your clients to make some structural changes on the site to increase crawl and active page ratio of some type of pages. And web server logs can help us predict the future. So if you are interested in, you can read my blog post, how this can be done. In the blog post, the model is not accurate, but we can work on it more and make it accurate. So that's all about web server logs. Thank you very much.